This is Karita Parks with Bowie TV at the Under Armour Performance Center, where the Baltimore Ravens wrapped up their last day of mandatory minicamp. But they started it off with a bang. The team announced the signing of free agent cornerback Jaire Alexander to a $4 million deal worth up to $6 million with incentives. Now, yesterday, we had a chance to talk to Lamar Jackson for the first time since last season. And he was asked about bringing his former college teammate onto the Ravens, and he had a very clear message.
Go get him, Eric. I love all our corners, don't get me wrong, but go get him, Eric.
Have you got a chance to talk to Jaire about coming here?
Yeah, I hit him up, but you don't know. You never know with Jaire. That's my boy, man.
With the cat officially out of the bag, Alexander joined his teammates today on the sideline for minicamp. He's not participating in practice just yet, being that he signed his contract today. However, we did have a chance to talk to Kyle Hamilton and Marlon Humphrey after practice, who are both very excited about the acquisition of Jaire.
We were at lunch, and Lamar told us, and 5 seconds later, we see it on that Nike show, so that's crazy. But great addition. I mean, he's been one of the best in this league since he got in it, and to have anybody like that, no matter what position room, especially as a DB, it's super valuable. And I'm super out of breath because we literally just finished practice, but excited to have him. Been talking to him a lot. Cool dude.
I'm super excited to add him. I think he'll mesh really well with the team, and it'll be a good secondary.
Although it was a short 2 days of minicamp, there's several guys that I could highlight that stood out. However, I particularly just want to note that TJ Tampa, he looks good, he looks healthy. Injuries held him back last year. But I also want to focus on Tez Walker. It is a stacked wide receiver group, but he has made notable progress. We saw it in OTAs, and we saw it again in minicamp. I asked Coach Harbaugh what he's seen from him. Here's what he had to say.
Coach Tez Walker, he looks like he's been making some strides just observing OTAs and minicamp. What have you seen from him?
Well, I saw a catch on the sideline that was spectacular. That was pretty awesome. He's every day, all he does is show up and go 100 miles an hour. He's got a chance to be really good.
Overall, Harbaugh and the players are pleased with where they're at right now. The team is off for the next few weeks. They return in mid-July for training camp. The rookies report on July 15th, and the veterans report on July 22nd. It's also been confirmed, as Coach Harbaugh has been saying throughout the offseason, that they will have joint practices. The first one is early August against the Indianapolis Colts, and then later in the month against the Washington Commanders. Make sure you're tuned in to Bowie TV for all your Ravens content. This has been your Ravens Rundown.
Weather outside, well, now it's nice, but it wasn't before, and so we came inside and I thought we had an excellent practice. The guys are really locked in, trying to do everything right. So you appreciate that as a coach. It was fast and it was pretty sharp. So that's it for this phase. I kind of look at minicamp like the start of training camp. You know, it's the first mandatory type of deal. We'll pick this up then in a few weeks. And we'll start training camp when the rookies come back in. The rookies will have one more week here of conditioning, strength and conditioning, so they'll get that done, and we'll be moving on into the season. Guys will get away a little bit, take care of their job. They come back in the best shape of their life, take care of their family, their family's needs, and take care of their own needs, and be ready to go. What questions do you have?
John, the addition of Jaire Alexander, what kind of impact do you think it can make on this team?
Well, just really excited about it. I had a chance to sit down with him today, which was an awesome time, and he's excited to be here. We're excited to have him. He had been kind of behind the scenes in the works a little bit, and I know he wanted to be here. We wanted him to be, so for it to work out the way it did, it made Lamar happy. I think it made everybody happy. It's just an opportunity to become a better team in that sense today. So we're really excited about it.
Is it just a coincidence that after Lamar said he wanted him here, he was here within hours?
It was good timing. It was good timing.
Coach, you talked a bit over the last couple of sessions about kind of with the new kickers, seeing how they would approach the mental side, the scrutiny of it. Now that you're a few sessions in, you've talked to a few of them, seeing kind of how they fare. How have you kind of seen that now that uncertainty starts to come to fruition?
Right. Yeah, I think the biggest thing is you try to put them in tough situations as much as we can. I mean, there's the idea of the repetition, and being able to replicate the swing. And Randy works on that with those guys all the time. They're down there and just putting the numbers up, and those are all charted and graphed and everything else. And then you get into the situations, and the team situation's one thing. Then the game scenarios are the next thing. They have to run out and make it like a game. Then they're working on some other things. I mean, both those guys are working on some trajectory things that you don't really know about, but they're trying to change the trajectory of the ball a little bit from what they've done. So we get it where we want it to be. So it's a little more consistent in certain conditions, and we've been working on that. So all those things I think add up, and then the end result with all that going on has been really good. So good solid job, and again we'll pick it up in training camp.
Does your special teams background a little bit kind of help as you talk to them in those moments as rookies?
Yeah, I'm the guy that pats him on the shoulder and kicks him in the butt at the same time. So that's my job.
What do you think of with Tyler? I mean, you've dealt with a lot of kickers. With Tyler, I've heard of something about like his leg consistency, his swing. Have you noticed that in what you've seen from him this year?
Yeah, he's a really good athlete. So he's got body control, and he can make adjustments from a coaching point standpoint. And so can John. They're both doing a good job with that. And actually pick it up really quick. He's just kind of a natural athlete, so he's picking it up quick. Now it's just a matter of doing it over and over again. And he's done a good job.
John, you've added a lot of these, in camp, kind of the veterans that come in on the one-year deals. Some of them have taken pay cuts and perform well here. I guess how easy it is for you as a coach to have those guys who've had experience, guys like DeAndre, Odell, now Jair, that really just come in and assimilate themselves into the culture. What's the key similarity you've seen amongst the veterans that come in?
Well, all the guys who come in here have wanted to be here. That's the number one thing. I believe that guys understand kind of what we're about, the organization, the culture of the program, and they're the kind of guys that see themselves in that. That's how they see themselves, as a Raven, so to speak. And you see DeAndre and how he's been with it. He's been phenomenal. And you guys watching him practice, I would say expect the same thing from Jair. That's kind of the conversation that we had today. And if it's the right guy, if you like football and you love everything about football, you're gonna like it here and you're gonna be happy. If a guy doesn't really feel that way, it's probably best he's somewhere else. So these guys have all been those kind of guys.
Coach Ted's
to see more Sanusi King on the defense with some of the injury issues you guys are having in the secondary. What have you seen from him coming and going into year two, I should say?
I think he's had a really good offseason. The OTAs have been really good. He's gotten better every day, and the last few practices have been very good. So, you watch him out here, I think you see it. And he's looked really good.
Coach Tez Walker, he looks like he's been making some strides just observing OTAs and minicamp. What have you seen from him?
Well, I saw a catch on the sideline that was spectacular. That was pretty awesome. He's every day. All he does is show up and go 100 miles an hour. We did get him to talk today because it's his birthday tomorrow. So we have birthday wisdom, birthday wise words. And so he gave us a wise word, made him stand up to do it. So he loved that, But yeah, he's got a chance to be really good.
John, Zach is a guy obviously you were very confident in when you brought him in, a little over a year ago, and just curious your perspective of how you've seen him sort of grow from then to now, and what is maybe the biggest difference when a guy is in that role going from year one to year two?
Well, Zach is a guy that I watch him every day. I know he's doing a great job day to day with coaching, with all the aspects of that job. It's a big job being a defensive coordinator, and he does it really well every day. And I watch him every day, and so not surprised at all by it. Kind of expected it, definitely expected it. So, but we all grow, get better, see things, learn from successes and failures. And Zach's great about that. He's very humble. Good combination of humility and confidence. Very, very, very charismatic guy. Really smart, good teacher. All those things that I knew, and you see it every day.
John, Jair was suspended a couple years ago for one game because he inserted himself into a coin toss. I think LaFleur and the Packers general manager talked about how nobody was bigger than the team. Did he talk about that at all during the signing? And do you remember that? And how do you expect him to kind of fit into the team culture?
I really don't remember it. I guess now that you mentioned it, now I remember it. I'd forgotten about it. No, it's not part of our conversation.
John, when you add a guy, especially at that position, at corner, I mean, in the big, I know you need everybody on defense to play well, but when you have corners, how important is that? Just, I mean, as a building block for a defense.
Well, yeah, when you've got corners, you don't have to worry about your corners, and it's kind of a big deal because a lot of plays are made out there on that red line, on that outside part of the outside third part of the field. That's an area of the field that really needs to be defended. And then, when you play man, they'll run all those crossing routes and all those pick routes, and you need guys that can keep up with that stuff. So it just gives you more options, with your defensive play calls. So yeah, it's a good thing. And I'm really, really fired up about that. I mean, I thought we had an excellent bunch of corners yesterday, and we added one more excellent corner today, so it's that much better.
John, you guys already kind of have a plan in place for helping him get past some of the injury woes that he's dealt with. I know that's always something you guys take a lot of pride in, just helping guys be in a position to succeed, even with some of the injury risks that they kind of come into camp with.
Definitely, just same thing we do with our guys. I mean, Cheeto has been the same thing. We've had that same conversation, same question when he came in. It's very similar. Those two guys are highly talented guys that have had to unfortunately deal with some injury woes, and obviously that's the upside for us. We want to get those guys healthy and rolling.
Coach, you guys got the Commanders joint practice coming up later in the summer. How much are you guys as a team looking forward to that? Obviously, that franchise is very different from what it was 2 years ago, the last time you guys met up here. So how much are you guys looking forward to that?
Yeah, right now we're probably not looking forward to it because it's so far away and there's so much to go between then and now. Actually, we'll have the Colts in here before that, so I would say first things first. But now as a long term, I'm excited about it. I'm excited to go down there to their place. I've never seen it, and I have so much respect for Coach Quinn and the whole organization and the team and everything. We played them last year, so we know what kind of team they are. So it'll help us be a better team.
John, everything's out here except obviously Darius and Every's still on track for training camp as far as you know?
Yeah, on training camp, I think at some point. Couldn't promise to start training camp. With the timeline of that wouldn't say to start training camp unless he does something miraculous. But I'm hopeful at some point in time in training camp we see him.
John, yesterday T was talking about ways that Lamar can still improve despite having one of the best seasons of the quarterback last year. I guess in the 2 days that you've seen him here, what have you seen different from him, and what would you like to see him improve on this year?
Yeah, it's just that across the board growth probably that he probably would talk about as well. I mean, I see him. He's throwing the ball great. He really has a really good grasp of the offense, and that's only going to get better the more reps he gets. But I think I'm really, when he comes out here and he's practicing the last 2 days, I'm really glad he's our quarterback. It makes me really happy, makes me smile inside. And I think it's a good room. Those guys have done a great job. All 3 of those guys, with T and Daniel. So, we just got to go to work and just keep improving. It's really not so much about Lamar or any individual player. They work on their craft, but for me as a coach, it's how it all fits together. So the whole offense, the whole defense, the whole special teams, the whole team, you kind of see that moving forward.
Don, as you look at the offensive line going into camp, do you see both of the guard jobs as open competitions to start, or more on one side than the other? Or?
Yeah, I don't know. You're kind of asking me to like put it on the scale. In one sense, every job is open. Sure. You never know what's going to happen the next day. You got to be ready for every possibility. And competition is what the NFL is all about. It's what sports is all about, competition. So everybody's always competing every day. But those are 2 of the positions that are, that I kind of think I got a pretty good idea that the guys that you saw out there today are in the league, and they've, especially Daniel, he had the most experience last year, so he did a nice job. Really played well as the season went on. And then, when Voorhees got his chance, he looked really good too in that one game, in the Browns game. So, but they know they got to play well. standard will be very high, but we expect them to play up to it.
We'll do 2 more.
John, I think you guys were already co-Super Bowl favorites, if not already. I don't think the Alexander signing is going to do anything to kind of tamp down some of the hype or the buzz around this team. What are you going to? How did you send off this team, and what do you want them to? How do you want them to approach the expectations and the pressure around as you guys kind of have this hiatus?
Yeah, what do they say? Pressure is a privilege, I think, the U.S. Open, right? Who said that? Was it Billie Jean King? Who said that? Anybody?
I think so.
Pretty sure it's Billie Jean King.
Was it Ted Lasso, was it?
What's that?
Was it Ted Lasso, was it?
No, but it could have been. Ted Lasso, you're right. We are locked in on doing everything we can possibly do to be the very best football team we can be, with intentionality and with purpose. That is what we are doing. I see it. You guys watch practice? You should be seeing it out there. I see it in practice. So where that leads us is going to be where it leads us. And we got to take care of the process. And it's our job to make it happen. It's not what you say. It's not anything other than what you do. And I see the guys doing it every day, and I can't wait for the next day.
Has that been consistent each time kind of this season with this group, more so Lamar the past couple seasons, or is it rare to feel that way at this point, that you are so locked in before even campus?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, it's a consistent principle for us. It's what we believe in, and it's what we emphasize. But I do see it in this group. I can't really compare it. You kind of forget, but I see it right now in this group at a really, really high level. And that's what you want to see as a coach.
The acquisition of Bowie.
Yeah, kind of crazy how fast that news broke. He shout out to Anthony Miller. He requested that. We were at lunch, and we literally, Lamar told us, and 5 seconds later we see it on Pat McAfee show. So that's crazy. But great addition. I mean, he's been one of the best in this league since he got in it, and to have anybody like that, no matter what position room, especially as a DB, it's super valuable. And I'm super out of breath because we literally just finished practice, but excited to have him. Been talking to him a lot. Cool dude.
Having a guy like that, another piece, another highly decorated, talented player in what's already a very, pretty deep secondary, what does that do for you guys in terms of flexibility, depth, all of those sorts of things?
Yeah, I think somebody, I think it might have been Ozzy. I think he said you can never have too many DBs. And, I feel like for every team at some point in the year, it seems like everybody's thin at DB. And, to just add a guy like that into a room, kind of like I was saying, like not only his play, but his energy, his charisma, his leadership, ball knowledge. It's going to be great to have in the room, and excited to get him acclimated and everything. He seems super eager to get in the playbook and stuff, so I think we're all excited to have him going into camp.
Just along those lines, how pleased are you with this defense's roster-wise? You really have Bill Hayes, and how excited are you about that competition roster?
Yeah, I think people kind of play into the, every offseason there's some moves made, and I think people read a little bit too much into it. I think we still have our guys here, and we got a lot of talent that we retained and brought in. Obviously, we just got Jair, but I was just talking to Coach Harbaugh, just these 2 days, you can kind of see the trajectory that we think we're on. And still a lot of work to be done, obviously, and going to continue throughout the season. But, we're off to a great start. Seems like we're playing 12 on 11 out there sometimes. No offense to offense, but they'll probably have a different answer to that. But I think we're clicking really well right now. Just clean up the little mistakes.
Kyle, it wasn't too long ago where you were a rookie. Is there anything about Malachi that being around him that has surprised you in terms of how far advanced he is as a pro and how he's making his transition?
No, not at all. He's a Georgia boy, so it was in him when he was born. Not Bulldogs, but he was born in state. We don't care about Bulldogs. But no, he's super eager to learn and very mature for his age, I can tell. He's a great dude, great football player. And excited for you all to see it on display this season. Obviously, sick about what happened to AD and thinking about him, prayers for him. And but that allows Malachi to he's got to grow up quicker now. And but I think he's just the right guy for it. So I'm excited for him. He's going to do very well with the opportunity. He's going to have a great career.
Kyle, how does it feel to have potentially 5 first-round picks in the second year. I know obviously when you get to the NFL, it doesn't really matter a ton, but just that pedigree of talent with you, Malachi, Marlon, Jair, and Nate back there.
Yeah, I think that kind of comes with a added expectation that we welcome. I mean, obviously, like you said, nobody really cares that much on our side what round you were taking. Obviously, there's undrafted dudes in the league that make a big splash every year, but to have everybody back there is talented, smart, hard worker. We really have no excuses to not go out there and do what we need to do. So it's on us at the end of the day, and pressure is a privilege, and I'm excited for us to have that privilege.
This is year 2 for Zach at DC. Just curious what you've seen that stood out when you think back to him. Obviously, he's an impressive guy in a lot of ways, even last year, but what has stood out to you maybe in year 2, at least at this stage?
Yeah, I think it's different being on a position coach. I mean, I'm speaking for him right now, but being a position coach in the DC, obviously we had some tough losses in the past when he was a DC or LB's, or when he was an LB's coach. And as a DC, I feel like you take those losses more on your back, on your shoulders. So I think he's come back this year with a great outlook. We have that scar tissue from last year, and it's going to be good for us going into this year. And just the way he commands the room, you can tell there's a difference in the confidence in him and everybody in the room. And he puts that confidence in us. So we follow his lead, and he's done a great job so far.
Would you do any work with Malachi outside of the sort of normal work that the room does to sort of hone in on that partnership? That you had it with AD, we know.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I feel like in camp it's going to be a big thing because there's so much you're doing every day. Everybody's messing up every day. Everybody's making good plays every day. So watching that stuff on a daily basis is kind of hard now. People in and out. Only 2 days minicamp, but I think I'll probably talk to him, and we'll do, not just me and Malachi, but everybody in the DB room, defense. We'll have group stuff going on so we can all be on the same page.
Wild, with having now gone through a spring, what have been your impressions of Chuck Pagano? I mean, we know the experience, former head coach, all of that. What do you think he can do for your group?
Yeah, I think every time he says something in the meeting room with all the DBs, it's kind of like he's just dropping knowledge. Like, he's forgotten more football than a lot of people know. So to have somebody in the room like that, and Donald too, who's been doing a great job. Honestly, he gets through those installs like a pro. It's impressive. But no, they're both doing a great job so far. But back to Chuck, I think he's accomplished everything in this game besides winning the Super Bowl. So he's voiced that, and we want to get that not only for us but for him too. Guys like him who haven't been able to reach that pinnacle. So just a great guy to have, and really happy about the room right now.
I like it. I told him earlier. I asked him if he deleted Instagram because I was gonna DM him. We talked a little last year when we had the joint practice, but then I couldn't find him on Instagram. So I asked him, did he delete his Instagram? And he said yes. So yeah, but I like it. I like it a lot. I think we did kind of speak on teaming up last year, but obviously, he was like, I'm here. And I was like, well, I'm probably not leaving here either. So it ended up working out, but really excited. I think a quote that's never been said and probably will never be said in the NFL history is, we got too many corners that can cover. So I think that's a great problem to have, and really excited for that addition.
Marlon, you spent a lot of time in the slot last year. Did you relish that opportunity to play inside, match up against some of the slot receivers, maybe get a little more physical, blitz? Was that something you wanted to do? Is it something you really enjoyed doing?
When I first got out there, I think maybe my second or third year, it was something I really wasn't very comfortable with. But ever since I redshirted at Bama, that off season, I went into the spring training, and my thought process was, it doesn't really matter what position I'm asked to do, the special teams, no matter what it is, I'll always be excited to get on the field, whatever the coaches ask me to do. And fast forward to when they first asked me to do that, that third year, I was thinking in my head, I don't think this is going to work too well, but they think I can do it, so I'll try it out. And it ended up working pretty well. And now I've come to like it because, corner, you got to there's only so much aggression you can have when you got to cover Jamar Chase. You can't be too aggressive, but nickel, you get to get in there, get in the mix, get in the trenches, as the big guys call it. So I feel like I'm a smaller guy when I'm dealing with the 300-pound guy, but I try to put on my big boy pads and do my thing. So yeah, I've enjoyed it. It's been fun. I've taken notes from a lot of different guys across the league that have a lot of success blitzing. Mike Hilton, obviously Kyle Hamilton, some of those guys that show a lot of just different finesse and different ways to get in there. But yeah, to answer your question, I've started to enjoy the position.
Marlon, to piggyback on that, do you kind of expect a similar role this year, and how much does adding a guy like Jair give you guys flexibility to move guys around and so forth?
Yeah, so before AD got hurt, obviously there was going to be a ton of a lot of flexibility. Then we had Cheeto, and it's like, wow, we can get even more flexibility. Then AD goes down. So we still got some spots, and then now we had Jair, and it's just, I think the options are endless. Me playing a little safety, Kyle playing that, it's even Malachi in college, he played kind of some of that nickel position. So it's going to be a fun secondary, I think, and just guys can kind of play wherever. I mean, it's added the addition to Jair along with the other guys we got. It can be a serious matchup. If there's a guy that we feel that this guy can cover this guy better, we can match him up with him. We can all pick kind of who we want. We can have 4, first-round corners out there. There's just so much that we can do. It's really exciting. It's really exciting to add him.
Hey, well, you talked last year just about kind of your motivation going into the season, and whether it's refocusing, but just you put a lot into last year. How do you kind of describe your thought process and approach mentally going into this year?
I think when I was, as I've gotten older, I've tried to, as older might not be the word, as I've decided to get married, I realized I was moving a little fast, and I felt in order to get that wife that I wanted, I needed to slow down some, and that's kind of the approach I really took to my life, my family life, and my football life. That was the biggest thing, to just slow down, take your time. Get to work early. You might not have a meeting for another hour. Get to work early, you'll find something to do. The plane leaves at 2. Get to the plane at 2. Sit on there. I don't ever like to rush, and I've really focused in and took that approach to football. I think the year before I was hurt a lot, and I realized I'm just gonna take every day like this could be my last year playing. This could be my last day living, and that's the approach I took last year. That's the approach I take now. I'm usually one of the last guys to leave. I'm basically here every single day, off day or not. Me and Broderick Washington, there's one guy I usually run into on every off day. We are here very unnecessarily, just here. And Rod is usually actually working out. I'm usually just wasting my time here a lot of times, but I just like to really slow down, enjoy where I'm at, because the reality is, with Zio being our coach, you really never know when your last snap of football is going to be. That's just a true reality. You never know when your last breath is going to be, and that's just the biggest thing I took to last season. I truly played it as, obviously I knew the things coming to the season. My performance kind of was very dependent on if I would be playing for this team or not, and I wanted to. My thought process was, if this is my last year, I really want to enjoy it. And as I'm getting older, so they say, that's kind of just the reality. You just never know what a team wants to do. This game is, this place is love, this place is great, but at the end of the day, the NFL is a business, and I'm not getting no younger. Plays can still get made, but that's just the reality, how I approach it, and that's worked well for me.
DeAndre Hopkins is one of the bigger additions on offense for this team. What have been your impressions of him? And especially, he's a guy who's at a stage of his career. What have kind of been your thoughts in seeing him on the field?
I like D-Hop. I've got to have some conversations with him. He is Mr. Contested Catch, that is for sure. Just having a conversation with him, I thought it was really humbling we asked him, me and one of the strength coaches, what do you think about the team from the outside looking in, since you've been on other teams? And he said, it seems like there's been a piece that's been missing. I could be that addition. I could not be that addition. And to hear a veteran guy, all-pro guy, Pro Bowl guy, say he could be or he could not be, to me that was extremely humbling. And I feel that he fits the Raven mold, and I think he'll fit right in.
Marlon, you keep adding these really good players. We just talked about a couple of them. Do you guys have the collective mindset of we're one of the best few teams, and as we go into the next 6 or 7 months, everything has to be about getting that final result that we want?
Yeah, I mean, I think, obviously we end last year, lost to the Bills. I think every window opens and every window closes as far as that championship, ability. And I feel that, I'm not going to say we've underperformed, but we have underperformed. I feel that we've had championship caliber rosters. I feel that we've prepared like a championship team. And it's just been something we got to do, but I don't feel that we're far off. I think I can only speak on the defense. I feel that when I first came to the Ravens, it was all about the Ravens defense. It was all about the Ravens defense. It was all about the Ravens defense. And I feel like I've let that standard, being here, I think the longest defensive guy, I feel like I've let that standard kind of slip. And that's something that I want to get back. Obviously we love Lamar Jackson. He's a great player. But I want, the Ravens' identity to be defense, like it was when I first got here. So that's something that we're chirping in our room. It's something Zio's leading the front with. You got to get the football. When I look back at, I was unaware of how elite that 2000 Ravens defense was. And when I was watching some of those playoff games, you didn't really need offense, honestly. They were just making so many plays, turnovers. And that's the regular season is very important, but that is something that we are not doing, and kind of starts in practice. We've got a very detailed out grading system of, it's so much, honestly, it's pretty new, but it's really gonna tell, and it's showed on our walls, on the video boards in our defensive room. Everything's graded. Literally every single thing that you could possibly grade is graded, and I think it'll ultimately help us be the defense that I feel like Baltimore deserves. So that's the biggest thing. We got to get that back. I think that's crucial to get that standard back, and that's kind of all I'm thinking about as I go on this break. As you're training, you come back, it's go time, and it's all about the ball. It's all about the ball. It's all about the ball. And, I think that's what our defense is going to be focused on, and that's what we're going to do this season.
Marlon, a couple of defense.
You talked about DeAndre and kind of looking at the team from outside in. When you go back and you look at some of the postseasons, even specifically this past one, did you find yourself asking yourself why you aren't getting the results that you're looking to get?
It was this is my first full off season living here, and so season ended, and for probably a solid 2 weeks, me and some of the staff, most of the guys that kind of got out of town, some of the guys stuck around, we were trying to figure out those same answers. We never really came to anything. It just because, being on the inside, it just felt like we were preparing the way we should. It really seemed like everything was kind of where you wanted it. And the answer never truly came, but I do know the very simple answer, the one that did come, is the Bills had, I think, 3 turnovers. The Ravens had 0. And that right there, I think, is that's just to tell the story. The percentages, 3 turnovers are more than likely going to win the game. 2 turnovers are more than likely going to win the game. Even 1 turnover, you're more than likely going to win the game if the other team has 0. So that's the one thing that's pretty evident. It doesn't really matter how good you play defensively. You can't get the football, you're not playing good enough. And so that's the biggest thing to harp on. And like I said, that's got to be our identity. That's got to be all 11 guys that's on the field. Identity, get the ball, get the ball, get the ball, get the ball. And I feel like when I first got here, once again, the Raven flu is a real thing. All of a sudden, the guy with the hamstring, like, he'll be playing next week. There was a fear of when you stepped on the field. There's a fear to throw a screen because you got 4 D linemen coming that's retracing. And that standard is just, we're chasing to get it back. It's an urgency to get it back. Minicamp was cool. I felt like we got a lot of good work in OTAs. And it's honestly, OTAs look crazy because usually it's just row. You know row's coming. When you got 300-pound guys coming and on the outside, it's you better tackle the guy or you got a lot of guys coming to hit you and the defender. So that's I think the OTA was a good glimpse of what we're preaching, putting it to practice, and then training camp comes, season comes, everybody's got to be rolling.
Marlon, you mentioned that.
You talked about one your team up with Jair. So how do you feel like he fits in, in terms of how the secondary plays, and then culture-wise on this defense and with the secondary, how do you feel he fits in?
Pretty good. Just talking to him, he's excited to work. I know Lamar loves him. And we had my college DB coach was coaching him at Green Bay. So he said we're very similar, which is, I don't think I've ever heard that before. Someone being similar to me. So I think he'll fit in well. It's I don't think it's hard to fit in here. It's a very easy place, I feel like, to fit in with the team camaraderie. One of the first questions he asked was, do you guys hang out? Which is always a great thing. So, the culture, the chemistry. I wanted him to put on some cleats today and get out there, but obviously he just got off the plane. But I'm super excited to add him. I think he'll mesh really well with the team, and it'll be a good secondary.
Marlon, you mentioned Zio before. 2 quick things on that. The defensive grade charts, that was something he had implemented.
Yeah.
And then the second thing, you gave a very impassioned kind of defense of him last year and said, hey, it's not on him, it's on us, and we need to step up as players and so on and so forth. Curious, how do you think he responded to that criticism last year from what you saw? And secondly, what have you seen that's kind of stood out from him now compared to a first-year coordinator?
I think the defensive coaches, it seemed like they took a pretty hard study on what we did well last year, what we did bad. I think some of that grading system is some of the notes they took from it. Turnovers was something they took from it. You just have to get the ball more, especially when it matters the most. But as far as Zio as a coordinator, I felt that, sadly, there's a lot of things that were being coached that were coached correctly, and when he put it out there for us, called it, we weren't clicking as far as on the field, and it actually held us back as a defense from what we could call if we couldn't execute what was called. So some of it had to get a lot more simple until we could show that we could execute these things. And I think this offseason it's just gelling. Like I said, there was just so many plays when just one guy wasn't doing the right thing, and it went across every single position, every single player, somebody not doing what they were supposed to do in those first however many weeks. And I think the biggest change was just all 11 guys doing their job is kind of what turned our defense around, putting AD out there and different things. But I like how he's preaching. He said the best guy's going to play. The best guy is whoever's playing the best. And so I think last year he brought some energy, but this year if you're not ready to go, if you're not ready to play, you will not be grabbing your helmet on Sunday. And that's kind of what he's preaching. And I think we're all listening, but I know when we come back camp, he's going to be ready to rock. He's going to be ready to push us. He's going to be ready to take us, I think, to where the Ravens defense once used to be. And I'm excited to be a part of it, and I'm excited for the journey.